That's not what community is about. I am not the person. Everyone else is the person. So like my job is to find the people and be like, what is their like lane of genius? I can like bring them in and they can like teach my people and teach me. And so that's really like when you get out of that, like it's not about me, it's about everyone else. Like all of a sudden you're building a community that's so much deeper.
That's gold. On the show, we talk a lot about building your brand and your content strategy, but there is a missing piece to that could be a really important asset to a lot of agents. And today we're getting into exactly that, how community building is part of your brand and not separate from it. So before we dive in, today's episode is sponsored by Coffee and Contracts, a membership platform built specifically for real estate agents with content templates, marketing tools, and a community that actually gets it. You can try it free for a week at coffeecontracts.com/above asking. Link is also in the show notes. This is Above Asking. I'm Alyssa Stalker. Let's get into it. Now, today's guest, Kristin Cantrell, is a mom, a real estate agent, a 2-time podcast host, and the founder of multiple communities built around one thing, helping women grow through real relationships. And for over a decade, she's watched women transform their businesses and their lives just by getting into the right rooms, having the right conversations, and showing up consistently. She builds these rooms, these relationships, and real connections, and everything else grows from there. Kristin, welcome to Above Asking.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yay. And I was just on your podcast, so it's really fun to now have you in the hot seat and I get to ask you all of the questions.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I love being on podcasts and I love podcasting, like bringing people on my podcast. We should just do it all the time.
I know. It's seriously my favorite thing. I had this like TikTok I made when I launched this podcast initially that was like, I got talks a lot on my report card, and it's so true. Like, this is the best outlet for me because I can never shut up. So
totally, I did a reel like that too, where it was like, if I could go back to my teachers now.
Yeah.
Like, yes, totally.
We actually did make a career out of talking to people.
I 100% made a career out of making friends and talking.
So good. Well, speaking of making friends, you're so big on community building. I would love for you to just like introduce yourself to our listeners. Tell us a little bit about you and how this came to really be like your secret sauce of what you do in the real estate world.
Yeah. I would love to say I have this like master plan, but everything that I've built has kind of happened as it's happened. So I started Moms in Real Estate when I had a newborn and a 1-year-old, and I was just like really wanting to be around other moms in the real estate industry. So I had this idea. I was like, oh my gosh, we should start a mastermind and name it Moms in Real Estate, and we'll meet every month. And um, my bosses at the time, they actually were like, you're thinking too small. You need to be doing like a weekly series where they said like I should be like Ellen. And I'm like, okay, we actually did a talk show and we did it locally for moms in real estate for a while. And it was so fun. But I was like terrified of being the face. And so I had his wife come in and do it with me for years. And we did it every Thursday. It grew nationwide. It became a podcast. And then she stepped out of it years ago to go like do more stuff with her husband. And so at that point, I like rebranded it and kind of just like took it more seriously, more like a business. And that's when I partnered with Randy Mendez, and we grew the group from being a podcast that just had a Facebook group to a podcast that has a Facebook group of 42,000 women, and it just exploded. And we have the most amazing, positive community ever. So it's crazy because that's like a 10-year, like people are like, I feel like anyone that looks at something is like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? It's like, that was 10 years of work, you guys. And along the way, I started building branded communities locally and nationwide. And I have a nationwide network at Real Broker. So I have a lot of different moving parts.
Tell me a little bit more about those networks, because what you do is really, really cool on the local level nationwide.
Yeah, so I actually just had her on my podcast the other day. I was at this conference and I saw this girl, her name's Chauncey, and she's out of Texas. And I remember being at this Tony Robbins event and she was on stage talking about this branded community that she had called the Money Badgers. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you can brand a community and like go out in the world with it and attract people to it. And I'm like, that is what I have to do. So that was back in 2021. And I started my first branded local community. And it was awesome. I did it just for people that worked with me at eXp Realty at the time. And it started to not work because it was like I built it specifically for those people that worked with me. And then all of a sudden, like people that were not working with me wanted to be a part of it, and people at other brokerages. And then all of a sudden, moms at the park that owned businesses were like, I wish there was a you in my community. And I was like, hold on, I'm going to just take a step back because I'm getting asked and I keep having to say no. What if I could say yes? And so that's when I like shifted my model and I started to where it's a monthly membership community for female entrepreneurs. And I grew that. And then all of a sudden, through the podcast and through events and all these things, I had a lot of female real estate agents saying, I wish there was what you're doing in Gilbert in my area. There's nothing like that here. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. There's not. And then all of a sudden I was like, finally, Randy, who I do Moms in Real Estate with, was like, why don't you just let me take your brand into Nevada, into Reno? And I'm like, tell me what you would want. And she's like, telling me how she's a busy producing real estate agent who wants to expand her network, who wants to have more collaboration, who wants to do content days. And she just wanted the brand and everything that would make it easier. So I created a business in a box and I launched my franchise model in 2024. And so now I think we're in 36 or 37 cities now. And it's great. Like Hello Culture we're in Canada too. So we're outside of the United States. I just got Canada this year and I'm like so excited because it's cool because I'm seeing women so passionate about a prospecting like they're expanding their network while making an impact and they're monetizing it. So it's really cool. That's kind of what it's grown into. So again, like you look at every little thing that I do, everything kind of has happened like on accident.
That's awesome. I love that. I feel like that is such a cool way to build a brand. And when we talk about like prospecting or lead generation, what we really mean is like you're not just like signing up to build this network within your area, like as far as your franchise model goes, like you're creating a community and you're digging in like deep to that. You're connecting with people, but it's the byproduct of that turns into business. It's not you're joining this to like immediately get business off of it and that's your goal. Your goal is to build relationships. And we say this a lot on this podcast. Like when it comes to how your personal brand is received, it's through the relationships that you create. So I think that's amazing because that's the byproduct of building a community is those super valuable relationships that in turn become business.
100%. I think the reason I wanted to build community so much was because I would go to these like networking events and I would leave and I'd be like, ugh, like I feel gross after leaving there. Like I had a dollar sign over my head. And so when I set out to like create rooms, it was like, it's not about the transaction, it's about the connection and how can I serve this person. And when you show up in rooms like that, like business comes and it comes in so much more than if you were just like, oh, is that my next, transaction or whatever it is that you're calling in any industry? Like it's so short-sighted. So if you can just like really listen to people and see how you can connect them, how you can serve them and show up deep in your relationship consistently with them, you get so much more than one transaction.
Absolutely. And I love how you mention like feeling icky going to events. Like when I go to conferences or in the past I've gone to business networking events, like local business networking events where it feels like everyone's like looking at your badge or your name tag or what you do and like how can I leverage this chat right now? And it's very awkward. And something like a lot of people might not know about me is I don't do well in large groups. Like, I'm very social, I'm very outgoing, I don't mind showing up on camera or speaking or anything like that, but if I'm in, like, a big group where I have to, like, carve out a way to chat with someone, I don't do well with it, and I think the reason why is because I authentically want to connect with people on a deeper level. Like, I don't know what to say in a large group because it feels like small talk, and I wanna, like, actually get to know you. So, I feel like when you can curate these spaces like that for anyone else who feels that way, I feel like that's just, like, the perfect environment, you know what I mean?
I completely agree. Yes, it's almost like you can hardly focus in big rooms because you're like, I'm talking to this person, but there's like noise all over back here. And it just like, it's really hard to focus if you, I don't know, if your brain operates like ours, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And it's cool because what you've done is you've set a model and like a framework that people can that works that, you take a lot of that guesswork out of like, how do I build this? Because that's the thing that like stops most people is the how. They have the why, they
Yeah.
know the goal, like they know what they want to do, but it's like in the how. And that's really what we do here on this podcast is we talk about that. How do you do this? How
Yep.
can you think about it? How can you actually structure it? So you've taken that guesswork out of it, and people can basically step into your framework and curate those spaces themselves and build those relationships.
Yeah. And one of the big parts too, like, yes, it's taking that guesswork out and having like not only me, I always say, like, I'm not the end all be all. Like, I don't know everything. And so what's cool is like all these girls are here to help. So it's when you're building community, even though you're surrounded by people, it's still very lonely. And so being able to have a community of community builders is that other element that's like, oh my gosh, like I love how, Gretchen did this event. I'm going to reach out to her. And like you just have all of a sudden like people who get what you're doing.
Yeah, and when you said, like, this all kind of happened by accident and, like, one step built upon the next step, and it just sort of transpired and it's kind of like those building blocks, eventually you built the house. But what was it like, when did you have that unlock that you saw community as the thing that was, like, worth building, and you could really turn that into a brand?
Honestly, it was when I went to EXP and I was really in this discovery phase, like, what does this look like for me? And it was cool because I was this small person in this huge brokerage and people doing so many things outside of just selling homes. And I just was like a sponge. So I was just like watching it. And I actually had a friend that just kept talking about it to me. Like she was talking to me about like doing, but it didn't click with me until I saw Chauncey speak. Like that's what it is. And so I think, and my therapist told me this years ago, where it's like, I think it comes so natural to me that I don't feel like I could teach it. For a long time, I was like, oh, this isn't like an actual career path. Like I had this total belief that like, no, this isn't like what I can do. And so all of a sudden I feel like, I just embraced it and people were so attracted and it was like a magnet for a lot of people. And I've found over the years, the more that I do this, like people are so lonely and building relationships are so hard for them. And so I love, love, love. I can tell you so many stories where people are just like, they tell me how grateful they are that they got out of the house and that they came and that they made a connection that like I right now in a something that pops in my head is I had an investment panel one time and this girl came up to me afterwards and she's like, I wasn't gonna come today, and I came, and I literally just got the answer I needed to not leave real estate, and so, it's cool because it's like, I love that, like, I was able to, like, motivate you to get out of the house, come, learn, make connections, and now you're still in real estate, like but there's just, like I just consistently am always baffled when I, hear people say, like, they don't have somebody to call when they need help, and it's just, like, I never want that for anyone.
Yeah. Real estate really is a lonely path sometimes that you're walking, but when you can be the person that creates the community and you're bringing other business owners together, other people within your community, and you're creating that connection, it's not just real estate, being an entrepreneur in any space is very lonely. Like you're walking a path that most people won't take. Like, those are steps they just won't do, and they'll never know or understand what it's like to be in those shoes, you know?
For sure. Yeah, and if you can be the person that's bringing people together, like you're saying, it's you all of a sudden, like, everybody wants to know you. It's really, really cool. Like, I go to the same coffee shops all the time. I always, like, laugh when people feel like they need a real estate office. I'm like, "Why?" Like, literally, my best time spent is at coffee shops and running into people in my community. So, all of a sudden, if you're bringing the community together, you walk in a coffee shop and, like, you run into 10 people, you run into 20. There was literally one coffee shop day, I was there for 3 hours. I ran into, like, 30 to 40 people in my one of the girls that works for me was like, "I've never seen something like where you run into so many people." I'm like, "That's because like, I'm intentional in my community. I want my name in all these people's mouths when they're talking about entrepreneurship and bringing women together. Like, I want them to be like, 'You need to reach out to Kristen.'" And that's not me sitting at a desk at an office. That's not me sitting at my cowork space all the time. That's me out in the community. And so when you're curating these rooms too, like when you're out in the community, you constantly have an invite tool. You're like, I don't have to ask you if you're looking to buy or sell or whatever it is. You're literally just like, oh my gosh, you would love this event that we're doing. We're doing breath work for entrepreneurs coming up like in a couple weeks. Like you have to come. And then they're like, yeah, I actually do need to come because I have nothing else. No one's inviting me to anything.
Yeah, I love that. I wanna tie this back to, like, content and brand too, because we talk about this a lot with content that, people don't come to Instagram or social media to learn about the steps of a real estate transaction. Like, they come there to be entertained, but more than that, they come there looking for something, and a lot of the times, it's connection to feel like they relate to something. They get a dopamine hit after they laugh at something, like, they're like, "Oh my god, that's so me," or whatever it is. So, as a real estate agent, like, creating content, if you are building community and, showing up at these events, showing up in your community, supporting the people like within your community and within your network, that's content. And that's really like a leg of building your brand. And we say this a lot. A brand is not just like your logos and your colors, it's what you stand for. So like if you could translate that like into community, like how building communities actually helped build your brand and everything that you stand for, like what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So to me, my brand is my reputation and my name in other people's mouths. Like that is huge to me. And I want it to be so consistent. Like we can get so tripped up, especially in real estate. Like there's so much scarcity mindset all around us, right? Like I can't share that with her because then she's going to steal it. And then she's going to take my clients or even like I have to talk to the girls about like if you're creating rooms for female entrepreneurs and another real estate agent comes in, that is okay. Like you have to like be okay with that. So I think that the biggest thing for me is like show up, serve others, and make sure my reputation is that. And then I think that is huge because that translates. And then also like have the good brand colors and the brand fonts and have a brand that people are like, I love that because that is very, very attractive too. Because people are going to look at you online sometimes before they meet you. And that needs to be something that they're drawn to. But yeah, I would just say like definitely my reputation is the way that through community.
I love your branding, by the way, and you just recently redid it, and it's so reflective. Interestingly enough, like, there's that connection, like, your logos and your colors aren't the only thing about your brand, but they should be the visual representation of, like, what you want people to feel. What does it feel like to be a part of your community or be connected to your brand? And you have these, like, really fun colors. It's, like, very warm, like, in the palette, and it's like just very inviting, and that's everything you feel when you step into your world of, and I'm talking specifically like moms in real estate. I have been in that Facebook group for a very long time, and it really is such a supportive, warm, encouraging environment. And I think that more agents should be willing to put themselves out there for other agents. And this is like what I love about Coffee and Contracts. We have very similar communities. Like we're a membership, but we have all of our agents are helping each other and they're using some of the same content or they use the same base or the same templates. But the cool thing and why you can never fear another agent in the room with you is that you have a personal brand. That is your distinction. That is the one thing no one can take away from you. No one else can replicate. Whatever that agent's doing is specific to them. Their ideal client could be different than yours. They have completely different set of interests, point of view, beliefs about things than what you do. And so you can never be afraid. If anything, it's something to like tap into and embrace because I can tell you like most of my like best friends that I talk to are people like real estate agents that I've met on Instagram, you know, through communities.
Um,
So
literally, I feel like I've made the best, most amazing friends through Instagram and through real estate. It's so great.
like people I've met online, it's so funny. Like we meet in person at events, or like I even went to an event with an agent that I met online, and we had talked forever, and we were like in the same network at our brokerage. So we like shared a room at an event, and we're literally strangers online that just met, but we really wanted to get to this retreat, and so we split a room. But it's
It
just
is
funny.
weird when you really think about it. It's
No,
like,
I know
wait,
it is.
what?
Totally met strangers off the internet. So speaking of network, I want to discuss like what is the distinction between having a network and having a community?
Yeah, so I think having a network is having people to call and like you know a lot of people, right? Like, oh, I can pick up the phone and call so and so. Being in a community is like almost more of a sense of belonging. So it's like it's cheers. Like everyone knows your name and like you come in and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I finally feel like I can just like relax and like these are my people." So I definitely feel like when you're really a part of a community, that's like the feeling that you have. Like you just belong there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that that takes time to build. And like you're saying, this has been spanning over a decade for you personally. Your network is obviously massive, and so is the community you've built. And you've now have these different like offshoots of that. And so I really like to unpack, part of the journey or package how this could look for someone who's just starting out. I do believe there's no such thing as an overnight success, but I think in order to get like where you want to go, you have to really outline what those initial steps are. So like when you have an agent who's like in transaction mode, they're really focused on transactions, they're focused on getting more clients. How do you make the case that building a community is worth their investment and their time right now? And what are like the key things that they could be doing to get that started?
So I just always think of like a hamster wheel, right? So if you're just like so in your business and you're like, where's the next listing? Where's the next buyer? It's like you're never getting off that girl. So have to make time. And I'm not saying just to build community. You might be like, heck no, that sounds terrible, Kristen. That's totally fine. But even being in community, because when you really think about it, like that's where the opportunities are. And that's what gets like your ideas going. So I'm myself, like, I create community, but I'm also in communities. So I'm in a local female entrepreneur Christian group here in, Chandler, and I'm part of a nationwide mastermind where I'm with female entrepreneurs from all over the United States that are way more successful than me. And so I think it's like I put time on my calendar because I know, like, I will just stay where I'm at if I don't do that, right? And I don't want that. So if it's important to you, make the time. And then the other piece is if you're new to either one, embrace the suck because it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck bad if you're building community and you're gonna throw an event and no one's gonna show up and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna embrace the suck and know that this is part of the process and I'm gonna do it again. Because the people that have grit are the people that build communities over time and it will pop. Um, also embrace the suck of showing up in a new room because nobody likes to show up in a new room. I tell everyone that comes to one of my content days, it's gonna suck for maybe, like, 2 or 3 times because it's no one enjoys getting photos of themselves and doing trending audio reels and all these things, but we all have to, and we don't know anyone at first. And then all of a sudden, like you start meeting people and you start pairing up with people and going off and everyone's creating content together. So know that like it is awkward at first, but the more you do it, just like doing a, bicep curl, they suck at first, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I do these and now my muscles look hot. And so I'm going to keep doing them. So you see the payoff. And so if you can just like get through the hard part, you're going to see the payoff. You just got to stick with it. Have grit.
Yeah. I love that. I think, it's funny too, like you do content days within your community. And if you could come up with some ways to put people in a room and have support and do things together that they don't like love to do or instinctually do on their own, but you're like embracing the suck together, like that's so much better. And I actually think there's another like hidden byproduct of that is that'll help you do the things that you need to do that you probably wouldn't set out to do on your own. So I don't know, just a little thought there. Maybe you create events around things like that with other business owners in your community.
You guys, that's like everything I do. So literally I had a year of money mindset events because I was like, my money mindset sucks so bad. I'm going to like create rooms where I bring in all these women who are so great with money. And like the room was for me. Like needed the room. I just brought people. So like don't feel like you have to be like the person.
Yeah.
That's not what community is about. I am not the person. Everyone else is the person. So like my job is to find the people and be like, what is their like lane of genius? I can like bring them in and they can like teach my people and teach me. And so that's really like when you get out of that, like it's not about me, it's about everyone else. Like all of a sudden you're building a community that's so much deeper.
That's gold. And we say that too, like in your content strategy, even like we want to make it about us, like, and that's where it starts to feel like influencery and icky because we're like trying to come from the approach like, let me capture my day, get ready with me, come get coffee with me, and that's like what a lot of like influencers do. But there's a difference between an influencer and a person who has influence, and a community builder is someone who has influence and they make it about them. And that's the same thing with the content strategy that we dial in on the show is that everything you do, it's your personal brand and that's what you bring to it, but you want to make it about them. People connect with things that they see themselves in, or they just simply want to feel seen and a part of something. And so community is an incredible way to do that if you can build that as part of your personal brand. Thank you so much for being here today. This was a really, really great chat. I want to have like more fireside chat with you and just pick your brain.
No doubt.
So fun. Tell us where people can find you, learn more about the communities that you have.
Yeah, so I have everything under heykristencantrell.com, or you can go to Instagram at heykristencantrell. Then you'll find all of the links. You'll find Hello Culture Gilbert, Moms in Real Estate, Real Broker. You won't be bored.
You certainly won't. She's always on the move. And she's super fun to follow and has really great content as well. Seriously, like a true inspiration to so many people within our space. So we're lucky to have her here as one of our guests. For those of you who want to learn more about Coffee and Contracts, you want help with your content strategy, head to the show notes. You can also go to coffeecontracts.com/above asking for a free week of content. If this episode landed or connected with you, please share it with a friend, leave a comment, give us a review, and be sure to follow and subscribe so you don't miss more amazing guests like Kristen. And hopefully we'll have her back soon.
Yeah, and I will definitely just tell you I use Coffee and Contracts and I recommend it to everyone. What a great business. Like I will just do a little plug for you guys. I love it.
Yes, and we love having you a part of our community as well. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.